It's been a mystery for 500 years, and now scientists have confirmed that a skeleton found under a Leicester car park is that of King Richard III. Archaeologists said the extensive marks of battle on the bones, combined with DNA matched to his living descendants, put the identification beyond reasonable doubt. And they described their discovery as truly astonishing. Here's our science reporter, Asha Tanner.
When archaeologists began searching this Leicester car park, they described the dig as a long shot. But just weeks into the excavation, they made the most extraordinary discovery: a body. Today, the identity of that skeleton was made official. The exact location of the Greyfriars Church, thought to be the last known resting place of the king, had been forgotten over the centuries, until the dig. It was this woman who initially funded the project and instigated the search.
The first time I walked the car park, I just had the feeling. But then I came back a year later and there was a letter R right where I had the feeling that Richard's grave was. And believe me, I know how mad that sounds. But for me, that just gave me the push.
It's taken months of analysis by a huge team of academics to scientifically prove beyond all reasonable doubt that this is Richard III. A tooth from the remains was used to match DNA from the living descendant.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarums changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brothers, Clarence and the king, in deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up, about a prophecy which says that G of Edward's heirs the murderer shall be. Brother, good day. What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace?
His Majesty, tending my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the Tower.
Upon what cause?
Because my name is George.
Alack, my lord, that fault is none of yours. He should for that commit your godfathers. Oh, belike his Majesty hath some intent that you shall be new christened in the Tower. But what's the matter, Clarence? May I know?
Yea, Richard Gwyn, I know, for I protest, as yet I do not, but as I can learn. He hearkens after prophecies and dreams, and says, a wizard told him that by G his issue disinherited should be, and for my name of George begins with G, it follows in his thought that I am he.
Why, this it is when men are ruled by women. It is not the king that sends you to the Tower, it is the Queen, his wife, Clarence. It is she that tempers him to this extremity. We are not safe, Clarence. We are not safe.
By heavens, I think there's no man is secure.
I beseech your graces both to pardon me. His Majesty hath straitly given in charge that no man shall have private conference of what degree soever with his brother.
Well, even so, and please your worship, Brackenbury, you may partake of anything we say. We speak no treason, man. We say the king is wise and virtuous, and his noble queen well struck in years, fair and not jealous. How say you, sir? Can you deny all
I
this?
beseech your grace to pardon me, and withal forbear your conference with the noble duke.
We know thy charge, Brackenbury, and will obey.
We are the queen's abjects and must obey. Brother, farewell. I will unto the king, and whatsoever you will employ me in, I will perform it to enfranchise you. Meantime, this deep disgrace in brotherhood touches me more deeply than you can imagine.
I know it pleaseth neither of us well.
Well, your imprisonment shall not be long. Meantime, have patience.
I must perforce.
Farewell. Simple, plain Clarence, I do love thee so that I will shortly send thy soul to heaven. If heaven will take the present at our hands. But who comes here? The new delivered Hastings.
Oh, good time of day unto my gracious lord.
As much unto my good Lord Chamberlain. Well, are you welcome to the open air? How hath your lordship brooked imprisonment?
With patience, noble lord, as prisoners must. But I shall live, my lord, to give them thanks that were the cause of my imprisonment.
Oh, no doubt, and so shall Clarence too, for they that were your enemies are his, and have prevailed as much on him as you.
More pity the eagle should be mewed, while kites and buzzards pray at liberty, eh?
What news abroad?
The king is sickly, weak, and melancholy, and his physicians fear him mightily.
Oh, now, by St. Paul, this news is bad indeed. It is very grievous to be thought upon. Or what? Is he in his bed?
He is.
Go you before, and I'll follow you. Oh. The king cannot live, I hope, and must not die till George be packed with post-horse up to heaven. And if I fail not in my deep intent, Clarence hath not another day to live, which done, God take King Edward to his mercy, and leave the world for me to bustle in. For then I'll marry Warwick's daughter, Anne.
Set down your honourable load, whilst I awhile obsequiously lament the untimely fall of virtuous Lancaster.
What though I killed her husband and his father? The readiest way to make the wench amends is to become her husband and her father, the which will I.
Poor, key-cold figure of a holy king, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster, be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost to hear the lamentations of poor Anne, wife to thy Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the self-same hand that made these wounds. Cursed be the hand that made these fatal holes! Cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it! Cursed the blood that let this blood from hence! If ever he have child, abortive be it, prodigious and untimely brought to light, whose ugly and unnatural aspect may fright the hopeful mother at the view, and that be heir to his unhappiness. If ever he have wife, let her be made as miserable by the death of him as I am made by my poor lord and thee. Come now towards Chertsey with your holy load.
Stay, you that bear the corpse, and set it down.
What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop devoted, charitable deeds?
Villain, set down the corpse, or by St. Paul, I'll make a corpse of him that disobeys.
My lord, stand back and let the coffin pass.
Unmannered dog, stand thou when I command.
What? Do you tremble? Are you all afraid? Alas, I blame you not, for you are mortal, and mortal eyes cannot endure the devil. Avaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell.
Sweet saint, for charity, be not so cursed.
Foul devil, for God's sake, hence, and trouble us not. For thou hast made the happy earth thy hell. If thou delight to view thy heinous deeds, behold the pattern of thy butcheries! O God, which this blood made, revenge his death. O earth, which this blood drinks, revenge his death. Either heaven, with lightning, strike the murderer dead, or earth, gape open wide, and eat him quick.
Lady, you know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses.
Villain, thou knowest no law of God nor man. No beast so fierce, but no some touch of pity.
But I know none, and therefore am no beast.
Oh, wonderful when devils tell the truth.
More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe, divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils, to give me leave, by circumstance, but to acquit myself.
Vouchsafe diffused infection of a man, for these known evils, but to give me leave, by circumstance, to accuse thy cursed self.
Fairer than tongue can name thee, let me have some patient leisure to excuse myself.
Fouler than heart can think thee, thou canst make no excuse current, but to hang thyself.
By such despair I should accuse myself.
Didst thou not kill this king?
I grant ye.
Dost grant me, hedgehog? Then God grant me too, thou mayst be damned for that wicked deed. Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The better for the King of heaven that hath him.
He is in heaven, where thou shalt never come.
Well, let him thank me then that holp to send him thither, for he was fitter for that place than earth.
And thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you will hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your bedchamber.
Ill rest betide the chamber where thou liest.
So will it, madam, till I lie with you.
I hope so.
I know so. But, gentle lady, and to leave this keen encounter of our wits and fall somewhat into a slower method, is not the causer of the timeless deaths of these Plantagenets, Henry and Edward, as blameful as the executioner?
Thou art the cause and most accursed effect.
Your beauty was the cause of that effect. Your beauty that did haunt me in my sleep to undertake the death of all the world, that I might live 1 hour in your sweet bosom.
If I thought that, I tell thee, homicide, these nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks.
These eyes could not endure that beauty's wreck. You should not blemish it if I stood by. As all the world is cheered by the sun, so I by that. It is my day, my life.
Black night, oh, shade thy day, and death thy life.
Curse not thyself, fair creature, thou art both.
I would I were to be revenged on thee.
It is a quarrel most unnatural to be revenged on him that loveth thee.
It is a quarrel just and reasonable to be revenged on him that killed my husband.
He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband, did it to help thee to a better husband.
His better doth not breathe upon the earth.
He lives that loves thee better than he could.
Where is he?
Here. Why dost thou spit at me?
Would it were mortal poison for thy sake.
Never came poison from so sweet a place.
Never hung poison on a fouler toad. Out of my sight, thou dost infect my eyes.
Thine eyes, sweet lady, have infected mine.
Would they were basilisks to strike thee dead.
I would they were, that I might die at once, for now they kill me with a living death. Those eyes of thine from mine have drawn salt tears. These eyes that never shed remorseful tear. Not when thy warlike father, like a child, told the sad story of my father's death, and 20 times made pause to sob and weep that all the standers by had wet their cheeks like trees bedashed with rain. In that sad time my manly eyes did scorn an humble tear, and what these sorrows could not thence exhale, thy beauty hath, and made them blind with weeping. Teach not thy lips such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, lo, here I lend thee this sharp-pointed sword, which if thou please to hide in this true bosom, and let the soul forth that adoreth thee, I lay it naked to the deadly stroke, and humbly beg the death upon my knee. Nay, do not pause, it was I that killed King Henry, but it was thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch, it was I that stabbed young Edward, but it was thy heavenly face that set me on. Take up the sword again, or take up me.
Arise, dissembler, though I wish thy death, I will not be the executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I'll do it.
I have already.
That was in thy rage. Speak it again, and even at the word, that hand which for thy love did kill thy love, shall for thy love kill a far truer love. To both their deaths shalt thou be accessory.
I would I knew thy heart!
It is figured in my tongue.
I fear me both are false.
Oh, then never man was true.
Well, put up your sword.
Say then my peace is made.
That shalt thou know hereafter.
But shall I live in hope?
All men, I hope, live so.
Vouchsafe to wear this ring.
To take is not to give.
Look how my ring encompasseth thy finger. Even so thy breast encloseth my poor heart. And if thy poor devoted suppliant may but beg one favour at thy gracious hand, thou dost confirm his happiness forever.
What is it?
That it would please thee leave these sad designs to him that hath more cause to be a mourner, and presently repair to Crosby Place, where after I have interred this noble king with my repentant tears, I will, with all expedient duty, see you.
With all my heart. Much it joys me too, to see you are become so penitent.
Bid me farewell.
more than you deserve. Since you teach me how to flatter you. Imagine I have said farewell already.
Was ever woman in this humour wooed? Was ever woman in this humour won? I'll have her, but I will not keep her long. What? I that killed her husband and his father to take her in her heart's extremest hate, with curses in her mouth, tears in her eyes, the bleeding witness of her hatred by having God, her conscience, and these bars against me, and yet to win her, all the world to nothing! Hath she forgot already that brave prince, Edward, her lord, whom I, some 3 months since, stabbed in my angry mood at Tewkesbury? A sweeter and a lovelier gentleman the spacious world cannot again afford, and will she yet debase her eyes on me, that cropped the golden prime of this sweet prince and made her widow to a woeful bed, on me, that halt and am unshapen thus? I do mistake my person all this while. Upon my life she finds, although I cannot, myself to be a marvellous proper man. Albeit charges for a looking glass, and entertain some score or two of tailors to study fashions to adorn my body. Since I am crept in favour with myself, I will maintain it with some little cost. But first I'll turn yon fellow in his grave, and then return lamenting to my love. Shine out, fair sun, till I have bought a glass, that I may see my shadow as I pass.
Patience, sister. There's no doubt His Majesty will soon recover his accustomed health.
If he were dead, what would betide on me?
The heavens have blessed you with a goodly son to be your comforter when he is gone.
He is young, and his minority is put unto the trust of Richard Gloucester, a man that loves not me nor none of you.
Is it concluded he shall be protected?
It is determined, not concluded yet, but so it must be if the king miscarry.
I saw you the king today, Lord Stanley.
But now the Duke of Buckingham and I are come from visiting His Majesty.
What likelihood of his amendment, lords?
Madam Goodhope, His Grace speaks cheerfully. He desires to make atonement between the Duke of Gloucester and your brother.
Would all were well, but that will never be. I fear our happiness is at the highest.
They do me wrong, and I'll not endure it. Who are they that complain unto the king that I, forsooth, am stern and love them not? Because I cannot flatter and speak fair, smile in men's faces, smooth, deceive, and cog. I must be held a rancorous enemy. Cannot a plain man live and think no harm, but thus his simple truth must be abused by silken, sly, insinuating jacks.
To whom in all this presence speaks your grace?
To thee, that hast nor honesty nor grace. When have I injured thee? When done thee wrong? Or thee, or any of your faction?
Brother of Gloucester, you mistake the matter. The king of his own royal disposition, aiming belike at your interior hatred, which in your outward action shows itself against my brother, kindred, and myself, makes him to send, that thereby he may gather the grounds of your ill will, and so remove it.
I cannot tell. The world is grown so bad that wrens make prey where eagles dare not perch. Since every jack became a gentleman, there's many a gentle person made a jack.
Come, we know your meaning, Brother Gloucester. You envy my advancement and my son's. God grant we never may have need of you.
Meantime, God grants that we have need of you. My brother is imprisoned by your means, myself disgraced, and the nobility held in contempt, whilst many fair promotions are daily given to ennoble those that scarce some 2 days since were worth ennobled.
By him that raised me to this careful height, I never did incense his majesty against your brother Clarence, but have been an earnest advocate to plead for him. My lord, you do me shameful injury, falsely to draw me in these vile suspects.
You may deny that you were not the cause of my Lord Hastings' late imprisonment.
She may, my lord, for she is queen.
She may, Lord Rivers. Why, who knows not so what may she not? She may, yea, marry, may she.
What marry may she?
Oh, what marry may she? Marry with the king.
My lord of Gloucester, I have too long borne your blunt upbraidings and your bitter scoffs. By heaven, I will acquaint his majesty with those gross taunts I often have endured. I had rather be a country servant maid than a great queen, with this condition, to be thus taunted, scorned, and baited at. Small joy have I in being England's queen.
What? Threat you me with telling of the king? Well, tell him and spare not. Look, what I have said, I will avouch in presence of the king. I dare adventure to be sent to the Tower. 'Tis time to speak. My pains quite forgot. Before you were queen, yea, or your husband, my brother, was king, I was a pack horse in his great affairs. To royalize his blood, I spilt mine own. Let me put in your minds, if you forget what you have been ere now, and what you are, with all what I have been and what I am.
My lord of Gloucester, in those busy days which you urged to prove us enemies, we followed then our lord, our lawful king. So should we you, if you should be our king.
If I should be, I'd rather be a peddler. Far be it from my heart the thought of it.
Kenny. You wrangling pirates that fall out and sharing that which you have pilled from me. Which of you trembles not that looks on me? In that I, being queen, you bow like subjects, and yet by you deposed, you quake like rebels. Thou slewest my husband Henry in the Tower, and Edward, my poor son, at Tewkesbury. Ah, gentle villain, do not turn away.
Oh, foul wrinkled witch, what makest thou in my sight? Wert thou not banished on pain of death?
I was, but I do find more pain in banishment than death can yield me. Here, in my abode, a husband and a son thou owest to me, and thou a kingdom, all of you allegiance. The sorrow that I have, by right, is yours, and all the pleasures you usurp are mine.
Ooh. Ooh. The curse my noble father laid on thee when thou didst crown his warlike brows with paper, and with thy scorns drew rivers from his eyes, and then, to dry them, gave the Duke a cloth steeped in the faultless blood of pretty Rutland. His curses, then, from bitterness of soul, denounced against thee, are all fallen upon thee, and God, not we, hath plagued thy bloody deed.
So just is God, to right the innocent.
Oh, 'twas the foulest deed. To slay that babe, and the most merciless that ever was heard of.
Tyrants themselves wept when it was reported.
No man but prophesied revenge for it.
Northumberland, then present, wept to see it.
What? Were you snarling all before I came, ready to catch each other by the throat and turn you all your hatred now on me? Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then, give way, dull clouds, to my quick curses. If not by war, by surfeit, die your king, as ours by murder to make him a king. Edward, thy son, which now is Prince of Wales, for Edward, my son, which was Prince of Wales, die in his youth by likely violence, thyself a queen, for me that was a queen, outlive thy glory, like my wretched self. Long mayst thou live to wail thy children's death. And after many lengthened hours of grief die neither mother, wife, nor England's queen. Richard, Rivers, and Dorset, you were standers by, and so wast thou, Lord Hastings, when my son was stabbed with bloody daggers. Oh, God. God, I pray him that none of you may live your natural age, but by some unlooked accident cut off.
Oh, have done thy charms, thou hateful withered hag.
And leave out thee, stay dog, for thou shalt hear me. If not, the worm of conscience still begnaw thy soul. Thy friends suspect for traitors as thou livest, and take deep traitors for thy dearest friends. No sleep close up that deadly eye of thine, unless it be whilst some tormenting dream affright thee with a hell of ugly devils, thou, elvish marked, abortive, rooting, hog, thou, that was sealed in thy nativity, the slave of nature and the son of hell, thou, slander of thy mother's heavy womb, thou, loathed issue of thy father's loins, thou, rag of honour, thou, detested...
Margaret!
Richard!
Huh?
I called thee not?
Oh, I cry thee mercy then, for I had thought that thou didst call me all these bitter names.
Why, so I did, but looked for no reply. Oh, let me make the period to my curse.
It is done by me, and ends in Margaret.
Thus have you breathed your curse against yourself.
Poor painted queen, vain flourish of my fortune. Why strewest thou sugar on that bottled spider? The day will come when thou wilt look to me to help you curse that poisonous hunchbacked toad.
False-boding woman, now end thy frantic curse, lest to thy harm thou move our patience.
Dispute not with her, she is lunatic.
They that stand high have many blasts to shake them, and when they fall, they dash themselves to pieces.
Marry, is good counsel. Learn it, Marquis.
Oh, it toucheth you, my lord, as much as me.
As it was won with blood, lost be it so.
Have done for shame, if not for charity.
Urge me. Neither charity nor shame to me. My charity is outrage, life my shame, and in that shame still lives my sorrow's rage.
Have done, have done.
Oh, princely Buckingham. Oh. I'll kiss thy hand in sign of league and amity with thee. Thy garments are not spotted with our blood. Buckingham, take heed of yonder dog. Have not to do with him. Beware of him.
What doth she say, my lord of Buckingham?
Nothing that I respect, my gracious lord.
What? Dost thou ignore my gentle counsel and soothe the devil that I warn thee from? But remember this another day, when he shall split thy very heart with sorrow and say, poor Margaret was a prophetess. So live each of you, the subjects to his hate and he to yours, and all of you to God's.
My hair doth stand on end to hear her curses.
And so doth mine. I muse why she's at liberty.
Well, I cannot blame her. By God's holy mother, she hath had too much wrong, and I repent my part thereof that I've done to her.
I never did her any. to my knowledge.
Madam, His Majesty doth call for you.
We come!
Oh, His Majesty. Oh, oh, oh. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. And thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends, stolen out of holy writ, and seem a saint when most I play the devil. But yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home, and I, like one lost in a thorny wood that rends the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, yet toiling desperately to find it out, torment myself to catch the English crown, and from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with the bloody axe. Good soft. Here come my executioners. How now, my hardy, stout, resolved mates, are you going to dispatch this deed?
We are, my lord, and come to have the warrant that we may be admitted where he is.
Well thought upon. I have it here about me. When you have done, repair to Crosby Place. But, sirs, be sudden in the execution, with all obdurate. Do not hear him plead, for Clarence is well spoken, and perhaps may move your hearts to pity if you mark him.
Tush, fear not, my lord, we will not stand to prate. Talkers are no good doers.
Be assured we come to use our hands, not our tongues.
Your eyes drop millstones when fools' eyes drop tears. I like you, lads. About your business straight. Go, dispatch.
We will, my noble lord.
Why, I can smile and murder while I smile. I can add colours to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do this and cannot get a crown? Tut! Were it further off, I'll pluck it down.
Why looks your grace so heavily today?
I have passed a miserable night, so full of ugly sights, of ghastly dreams, that as I am a Christian faithful man, I would not spend another such a night, though 'twere to buy a world of happy days.
What was your dream? Long to hear you tell it.
Methoughts that I had broken from the tower and was embarked to cross to Burgundy. And in my company, my brother Gloucester, from my cabin, tempted me to walk upon the hatches. Thence we looked toward England, and cited up 1,000 fearful times during the wars of York and Lancaster that had befallen us as we paced along upon the giddy footing of the hatches. Methought the Gloucester stumbled, and in falling struck me, that thought to stay him, overboard into the tumbling billows of the main. Lord, Lord, methought, what pain it was to drown. A dreadful noise of waters in mine ears. What ugly sights of death within mine eyes. Methoughts I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 10,000 men that fishes gnawed upon, wedges of gold, great anchors, heaps of pearl, all scattered in the bottom of the sea. Some lay in dead men's skulls, and in those holes where eyes did once inhabit, there were crept, as 'twere in scorn of eyes, reflecting gems, which wooed the slimy bottom of the deep, and mocked the dead bones that lay scattered by. Ah, then began the tempest to my soul. I passed, methought, the melancholy flood unto the kingdom of perpetual night. The first that there did greet my stranger soul was my great father-in-law, renowned Warwick, who cried aloud, "What scourge for perjury can this dark monarchy afford false Clarence?" And so he vanished. Then came wandering by a shadow like an angel with bright hair dabbled in blood, and he squeaked out aloud, "Clarence has come, false, fleeting, perjured Clarence, that stabbed me in the field by Tewkesbury. Seize on him, Furies, take him to your torments." With that, methought, a legion of foul fiends environed me about, and howled in mine ears such hideous cries that with the very noise I trembling waked, and for a season after could not believe but that I was in hell. Such terrible impression made the dream.
No marvel, my lord. Although it's affrighted you, I promise you, I'm afraid to hear you tell it.
Oh, Brackenbury, I have done those things which now bear evidence against my soul for Edward's sake, and see how he requites me. O God, if my deep prayers cannot appease thee, but thou wilt be avenged on my misdeeds, yet execute thy wrath in me alone, or spare my guiltless wife and my poor children. I pray you, gentle keeper, stay by me. My soul is heavy. I fain would sleep.
Well, my lord, God give you grace, good rest.
Oh, who's here?
In God's name, what are you? How came you hither?
I would speak with Clarence, and I came hither on my legs.
Well, yeah, you're so brief.
Oh, sir, 'tis better to be brief than tedious. Shame our commission taught no more.
I am, in this, commanded to deliver the noble Duke of Clarence to your hands. I will not reason what is meant hereby, for I will be guiltless of the meaning. Here are the keys, and there sits the Duke, asleep. I'll to the king and signify to him that thus I've resigned my charge to you.
Do so. It is a point of wisdom. Fare thee well.
What, shall we stab him as he sleeps?
No. Then he will say 'twas done cowardly when he wakes.
When he wakes? Why, fool, he shall never wake till the judgment day.
Why, then he will say we stabbed him sleeping.
The urging of that word, judgment, hath bred a kind of remorse in me.
What, art thou afraid?
Not to kill him, having a warrant for it, but to be damned for killing him from which no warrant can defend us.
I thought thou hadst been resolute.
So I am, to let him live.
Back to the Duke of Gloucester, tell him so.
I pray thee stay a while. I hope my holy humour will change. 'Twas wont to hold me but while one would count 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
How dost thou feel thyself now?
Faith, some certain dregs of conscience are yet within me.
Remember our reward when the deed is done.
Zoons, he dies! I had forgot the reward.
Where is thy conscience now?
In the Duke of Gloucester's purse.
How hath it come to thee again?
I'll not meddle with it. 'Tis a dangerous thing. Makes a man a coward. A man cannot steal, but it accuseth him. A man cannot swear, but it checks him. A man cannot lie with his neighbour's wife, but it detects him. It is a blushing, shamefaced spirit that mutinies in a man's bosom. It fills one full of obstacles. It made me restore a purse of gold I'd found by chance. It beggars every man who keeps it, and every man who means to live well endeavours to live by himself and live without it.
Zoons, it is even now at my elbow persuading me not to kill the Duke.
Keep the devil in your mind, and relieve him not.
Tut, I am strong-framed, he cannot prevail with me, I warrant thee.
Spoke like a tall fellow that respects his reputation. Come, shall we to this gear?
Take him over the costard with the hilts of thy sword, and then we will throw him in the malmsey butt in the next room.
Oh, excellent device. Make a sop of him.
Hark! He stirs. Shall I strike?
No. First, let's reason with him.
In God's name, what art thou?
A man as you are.
Your eyes do menace me. Why look you pale? Who sent you hither? Wherefore do you come?
To
murder me?
Aye! Aye, aye.
Wherein, my friends, have I offended you?
Offended us you have not, but the king...
I shall be reconciled to him again.
Never, my lord, therefore, prepare to die.
What is my offence? Where are the evidence that you accuse me? Before I be convicted by course of law, to threaten me with death is most unlawful. I charge you, as you hope to have redemption by Christ's dear blood shed for our grievous sins, that you depart and lay no hands on me. The deed you undertake is damnable.
What we will do, we do upon command.
And he that hath commanded is the king.
Erroneous vessel. The great king of kings hath in the tables of his law commanded that thou shalt do no murder, and wilt thou then spurn at his edict and fulfill a man's? Take heed, for he holds vengeance in his hands to hurl upon their heads that break his law.
And that same vengeance doth he hurl on thee.
How canst thou urge God's dreadful law to us when thou hast broke it in so dear degree?
Alas, for whose sake did I that ill deed? For Edward, for my brother, for his sake. Why, sirs, he sends you not to murder me for this. If you be hired for money, go back again, and I will send you to my brother Gloucester, who shall reward you better for my life than Edward will for tidings of my death.
You are deceived. Your brother Gloucester hates you.
Oh no, he loves me, and he holds me dear. Go you to him from me.
Aye, so we will.
Right, 'twas he that sent us hither now to slaughter thee.
It cannot be. For when I parted with him, he hugged me to his arms and swore with sobs that he would labour my delivery.
Why, so he doth, when he delivers you from this world's thraldom to the joys of heaven.
Make peace with God, for you must die, my lord.
Ah, sirs, consider. He that set you on to do this deed will hate you for the deed.
What shall we do?
Relent and save your souls.
Relent! 'Tis cowardly and womanish.
Not relent is savage, beastly, devilish. Which of you, if you were a prince's son being penned from liberty as I am now, if two such murderers as yourselves came to you, would not entreat for life? My friend, I spy some pity in thy looks. Oh, if thou now be not a flatterer, come thou on my side and entreat for me, as you would beg were you in my distress.
Behind my lord!
Not
Bloody deed and desperately dispatched. How fain, like Pilate, would I wash my hands of this most grievous, guilty murder done.
How now, what meanst thou that thou helpst me not? By heavens, the Duke shall know how slack thou art.
I would he knew that I'd saved his brother, for I repent me that the Duke is slain.
And so do not I. Come, coward as thou art.
Done a good day's work. You peers, continue this united league. I every day expect an embassage from my Redeemer to redeem me hence. And now in peace my soul shall part to heaven, since I have set my friends at peace on earth. Rivers and Hastings, Take each other's hand, dissemble not your hatred, swear your love.
By heaven, my heart is purged from grudging hate, and with my hand I seal my true heart's love.
And so thrive I, as I truly swear the like.
Madam, yourself are not exempt in this, nor your son, Dorset, Buckingham, nor you. You have been factious, one against the other. Wife, love Lord Hastings. Let him kiss your hand, and what you do it unfeignedly.
Here, Hastings. I will never more remember our former hatred. So thrive I and mine.
Dorset, embrace him. Hastings, love Lord Marquis.
This interchange of love, I here protest upon my part, shall be inviolable.
And so swear I, my lord.
Now, princely Buckingham, seal thou this league with thy embracements to my wife's allies, and make me happy in your unity.
Whenever Buckingham doth turn his hate on you or yours, but with all duteous love doth cherish you and yours, God punish me with hate in those where I expect most love.
A pleasing cordial, princely Buckingham, is this thy vow unto my sickly heart? There wanteth now our brother Gloucester here to make the perfect period of this peace.
And in good time here comes the noble prince.
Good morrow to my sovereign king and queen and princely peers, a happy time of day.
Happy indeed, as we have spent the day, brother, we have done deeds of charity, made peace of enmity, fair love of hate between these swelling, wrong, insensate peers.
A blessed labour, my most sovereign liege. If I, unwittingly or in my rage, have aught committed that is hardly borne by any in this presence, I desire to reconcile me to his friendly peace. 'Tis death to me to be at enmity, I hate it, and desire all good men's love. First, madam, I entreat true peace of you, which I will purchase with my duteous service. Of you, Lord Rivers, Dorset, of you, that without desert have frowned on me. Dukes, earls, lords, gentlemen, indeed of all, I do not know that Englishman alive with whom my soul is any jot at odds more than the infant that is born tonight. I thank my God for my humility.
I would to God all strifes were well compounded. My sovereign liege, I do beseech your majesty to take your brother Clarence to your grace.
What? Madam, have I offered love for this, to be so flouted in this royal presence? Who knows not that the noble duke is dead?
Who knows not he is dead? Who knows he is?
Oh, seeing heaven, what a world is this?
Is Clarence dead? The order was reversed.
But he, poor soul, by your first order died, and that a winged Mercury did bear. Some tardy cripple bore the countermand, which came too late to see him buried.
My brother slew no man. His fault was thought, and yet his punishment was cruel death. Who sued to me for him? Who, in my rage, kneeled at my feet and bade me be advised? Who spake of brotherhood? Who spake of love? Who told me in the field by Tewkesbury, when Oxford had me down, he rescued me and said, "Dear brother, live and be a king"? Who told me, when we both lay in the field, frozen almost to death, how he did lap me, even in his garments, and did give himself, all thin and naked, to the numb, cold night? All this from my remembrance, brutish wrath, sinfully plucked, and not a man of you had so much grace to put it in my mind. What none of you would once plead for his life. Oh God, I fear your justice will take hold on me and you and mine and yours for this. Come, Hastings, help me to my closet. Poor Clarence!
This is the fruit of rashness. Marked you not how that the guilty kindred of the Queen looked pale when they did hear of Clarence' death? Oh, they did urge it still unto the King. God will revenge it.
We wait upon your grace.
Oh, madam, my mother, I cry you mercy. I didn't see your grace. Humbly on my knee, I crave your blessing.
God bless thee, and put meekness in thy mind, love, charity, obedience, and true duty.
Amen. And make me die a good old man. That's the butt end of a mother's blessing. I marvel that your grace did leave it out.
Who shall hinder me to wail and weep, to chide my fortune and torment myself? Edward, my lord, your son, our king, is dead.
Comfort, dear mother. God is much displeased that you take with unthankfulness is doing.
Sister, have comfort. All of us have cause to wail the dimming of our shining star, but none can cure their harms by wailing them.
I have bewept a worthy husband's death and lived by looking on his images, but now 2 mirrors of his princely semblance are cracked in pieces by malignant death, and I, for comfort, have but one false glass, which grieves me when I see my shame in him.
Sister, bethink you like a careful mother of the young prince your son. Send straight for him, let him be crowned. In him your comfort lives.
Now cheer each other with each other's love. Though we have spent our harvest of this king, we are to reap the harvest of his son. The broken rancor of our high-swollen hearts, but lately splintered, knit, and joined together, must gently be preserved, cherished, and kept. Meseemeth good that with some little train forthwith from Ludlow the young prince be fetched hither to London to be crowned our king.
Why with some little train, my lord of Buckingham?
Marry, my lord, lest by a multitude the new healed wound of malice should break out, which would be so much the more dangerous by how much the estate is green and yet ungoverned. As well the fear of harm, as harm apparent, in my opinion, ought to be prevented.
I hope the king made peace with all of us, and the compact is firm and true with me.
And so in me. And so I think in all. Yet since it is but green, it should be put to no apparent likelihood of breach. Therefore I say with noble Buckingham, it is meet so few should fetch the prince.
And so say I.
Oh, then be it so. Madam, and you, my mother, will you go to give your censures in this weighty business?
With all our hearts.
My lord, whoever journeys to the prince for God's sake, let not us two stay at home. For on the way I'll sort occasion to part the queen's proud brother from the prince.
My other self, my oracle, my prophet, my dear cousin, I, like a child, will go by thy direction.
So fast.
I promise you, I scarcely know myself. Hear you the news abroad?
Aye, the king is dead.
I long with all my heart to see the prince. I hope he's much grown since last I saw him.
But I hear no. They say my son of York hath almost overtaken him with his growth. What news?
Lord Rivers is sent to Pomfret prisoner.
Who has committed him?
The mighty Dukes Gloucester and Buckingham.
How fares the Prince of Wales?
Well, mother, and in health.
Neighbour, Godspeed.
Does this news hold of good King Edward's death?
Aye, madam, it is too true, God help the while. Now look to see a troublous world.
No, by God's good grace his son shall reign.
Woe to the land that's governed by a child.
Ay me. I see the downfall of our house. The tiger now hath seized the gentle hind. Insulting tyranny begins to jot upon the innocent, and all is thrown. Welcome, Destruction, death, and massacre. I see as in a map the end of all. Come, come, my boys, we will to sanctuary. Madam, farewell.
I'll go along with you.
You have no cause.
My gracious mother, go!
Preposterous and frantic outrage. End thy damned spleen. Or let me die to look on death no more.
Welcome, sweet prince, to London.
Welcome, dear cousin, my thought sovereign. The weary way hath made you melancholy.
No, uncle. But our crosses on the way have made it tedious, wearisome, and heavy. I want more uncles here to welcome me.
Sweet prince, the untainted virtue of your years hath not yet dived into the world's deceit. That uncle who you want was dangerous. Your grace attended to his sugared words and looked not on the poison of his heart. God keep you from him and from such false friends.
God keep me from false friends. But Uncle Rivers was none.
My lord, the Mayor of London comes to greet you.
God bless your grace, with health and happy days.
I thank you, good my lord, and thank you all. I thought my mother and my brother York would long ere this have met us on the way. Fie, what a slug is Hastings, that he comes not to tell us whether they will come or no.
And in good time, here comes the sweating lord.
What, will my mother come?
The Queen, your mother, and your brother York have taken sanctuary. Now, the tender prince would fain have come to meet your grace, but by his mother was perforce withheld.
Fie, what an indirect and peevish course is this of hers. My lord of Ely, will your grace persuade the Queen to send the Duke of York unto his princely brother presently? If she deny, Lord Hastings go with him, and from her jealous arms pluck him perforce.
My Lord of Buckingham, if my weak oratory can from his mother win the Duke of York, anon expect him here. But if she be obdurate to mild entreaties, God in heaven forbid we should infringe the holy privilege of blessed sanctuary. Not for all this land would I be guilty of so deep a sin.
You're too senseless, obstinate, my lord, too ceremonious and traditional. Weigh it but with the grossness of this age, you break not sanctuary in seizing him. The benefit thereof is always granted to those whose dealings have deserved the place, and those who have the wit to claim the place. This prince hath neither claimed it nor deserved it, and therefore, in mine opinion, cannot have it. Oft have I heard of sanctuary men, but sanctuary children, never, till now.
My lord, you shall all rule my mind for once. Come on, Lord Hastings, will you go with me?
I go. My lord.
Say, Uncle Gloucester, if my brother comes, where shall we sojourn till our coronation?
Where it seems best unto your royal grace. If I may counsel you, some day or two your highness shall repose you in the Tower.
I do not like the Tower of any place. Did Julius Caesar build that place, my lord?
He did not begin that place, which since succeeding ages have re-edified.
Is it from record, or else reported successively from age to age, he built it?
From
age upon record, my gracious lord.
But say, my lord, it's well not registered. I think the truth should live from age to age, even to the general all-ending day.
So wise, so young, they say, do never live long.
And in good time, here comes the Duke of York.
Richard of York.
How fares our loving brother? Well, my dread lord, so must I call you now.
How fares our cousin, noble Lord of York?
I thank you, gentle uncle. Oh, my lord, you said that idle weeds are fast in growth. The prince, my brother, hath outgrown me far.
He hath, my lord.
Therefore is he idle?
Oh, shh, my fair cousin. Shh, I mustn't say so.
I pray you, uncle, give me your dagger.
My dagger, little lord, with all my heart.
I would that I might thank you as you call me.
How?
Little.
Uncle, your grace must learn to bear with him.
You mean to bear me, not to bear with me. Because that I am little, like an ape, he thinks that you should bear me on your shoulders.
My lord, will it please you pass along? Myself and my good cousin Buckingham will to your mother to entreat of her to meet you at the Tower and welcome you.
I shall not sleep in quiet at the Tower.
Why, what should you fear?
Marry, my Uncle Clarence' angry ghost. My granddam told me he was murdered there.
I fear no uncle's dead.
Nor none that live, I hope.
Come on, young princes, let us to the Tower.
Think you, my lord, this little prating York was not incensed by his subtle mother to taunt and scorn you thus opprobriously?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. 'Tis a parlous boy, bold, quick, ingenious, forward, capable. He is all the mother's, from top to toe.
Well, let them rest. Come hither, Catesby. Thou art sworn as deeply to effect what we intend as closely to conceal what we impart. Thou knowest our reasons, urged upon the way. What thinkst thou? Is it not an easy matter to make William Lord Hastings of our mind for the instalment of this noble duke and the seat royal of this famous isle?
He, for his father's sake, so loves the prince, he will not be one to aught against him.
What thinkst thou then of Stanley? What will he?
He will do all in all as Hastings doth.
Well then, no more but this. Go gentle, Catesby, and as it were far off, sound thou, Lord Hastings, how he doth stand affected to our purpose, and summon him tomorrow to the Tower to sit about the coronation. If thou dost find him tractable to us, encourage him, and show him all our reasons. If he be leaden, icy cold, unwilling, be thou so too, and so break off your talk, and give us notice of his inclination.
Commend me to Lord Hastings. Tell him, Catesby, his ancient adversary, Lord Rivers, tomorrow is let blood at Pomfret Castle.
Good Catesby, go. Effect this business soundly.
My good lords both, with all the heed I may.
Shall we hear from thee, Catesby, ere we sleep?
You shall, my noble lord.
Now, my lord, what shall we do if we perceive William Lord Hastings will not yield to our complots?
Chop off his head, man. Somewhat we will do. And look you, when I am king, claim thou of me the earldom of Hereford and the movables whereof the king my brother stood possessed.
I'll claim that promise from your grace's hand.
And look to have it yielded with all willingness.
What is the clock? Oh, on the stroke of 4. Oh, cannot Lord Stanley sleep these tedious nights? He sends me word. Diddly diddly dee. He dreamt tonight the boar did raise his helm. Therefore he sends to me to know my pleasure, if presently I will take horse with him, and with all haste post with him toward the north, to shun the danger which his soul divines. Oh, for your dreams, I wonder you are so fond to trust the mockery of unquiet slumber. To fly the boar before the boar pursues were to incense the boar to follow us. and make pursuit where he did mean no chase. I pray your lordship, rise and come to me, and we will both together to the tower, where you shall see the boar shall use us kindly.
Many good morrows to my noble lord.
Oh, good morrow, Catesby. Oh, you're early stirring. What news? What news in this our tottering state?
It is a reeling world indeed, my lord, and I believe 'twill never stand upright till Richard wear the garland of the realm.
How wear the garland? Dost thou mean the crown?
Aye, my good lord.
I'll have this crown of mine cut from my shoulders ere I shall see the crown so foul misplaced.
He sends you this good news, that this same very day your enemy, the brother of the Queen, must die at Pomfret.
Indeed. Well, I'm no mourner for that news, but that I shall give my voice on Richard's side, God knows I will not do it, to the death.
God keep your lordship in that gracious mind.
Sure, I shall laugh at this in 12 months hence, that he that brought me in my master's hate, I live to look upon his tragedy.
'Tis a vile thing to die, my gracious lord, when men are unprepared and look not for it.
It's monstrous, monstrous. And so fares it out with our fierce queen's brother. And so 'twill do with some men else who think themselves as safe as thou and I, who, as thou knowest, are dear to princely Richard and to Buckingham.
The princes both make high account of you.
Yes, I know they do, and I have well deserved it. Oh, come on, come on. Where's your boar spear, man? Fear you the boar and go so unprovided?
My lord, good morrow, Catesby. You may jest on, but by the holy rood, I do not like these several counsels, I.
Oh, my lord, I hold my life as dear as you do yours. That thinkst thou? But that I know our state secure, I should be so triumphant as I am.
Lord Rivers, when he rode from London, was jocund, and supposed his state was sure. And he indeed had no cause to mistrust, but yet you see how soon the day o'ercast. Pray God, I say, I prove a needless coward.
Oh, come, have with you. Ah! The Bishop of Ely.
Well met, my lord. I'm glad to see your honour.
I am much bound to you for your last exercise. Now, come the next Sabbath, and I will, content you.
What? Talking with my lord of Ely? Your friend at Pomfret, he does need the priest.
Oh, good faith. And when I met my lord of Ely here, our Pomfret friend then came into my mind. What, go you towards the tower, my lord?
I do, my lord, but long I shall not stay. I shall return before your lordship thence.
Oh, well, that's like enough, for I stay dinner there.
And supper too, although thou knowest it not.
Huh?
Come, will you go?
I wait upon your lordship.
Today shalt thou behold a subject die for truth, for duty, and for loyalty. God keep the prince from all the pack of you, and not you are of damned bloodsuckers! Now Margaret's curse has fallen upon my head for standing by when Richard killed her son. Then curse she Hastings, then curse she Buckingham, then curse she Richard.
Gatos!
Oh, remember God, to hear her prayers for them as now for us.
Agon!
we are met is to determine of the coronation. So in God's name speak, when is the royal day?
Are all things fitting for that royal time?
They are, and want but nomination.
Tomorrow, then, I judge a happy day.
Who knows the Lord Protector's mind herein? Who is most inward with the noble Duke?
Your Grace, we think, should soonest know his mind.
Who, I, my lord? Well, we know each other's faces, for our hearts. He knows no more of mine than I of yours, nor I of his, my lord, than you of mine. Lord Hastings, you and he are near in love?
Why, thank his grace, I know he loves me well. But for his purpose in the coronation, I have not sounded him, nor he delivered his gracious pleasure any way herein. But you, my lords, may name the time, and on the Duke's behalf I'll give my voice, which I presume you'll take in gentle part.
Now, in good time, here comes the Duke himself.
My noble lords and cousins all, good morrow. I've been long a sleeper. But I hope my absence doth neglect no great designs which by my presence might have been concluded.
Had you not come upon your cue, my lord? William Lord Hastings had pronounced your part.
Oh.
I mean your voice for crowning of the king.
Then, my Lord Hastings, no man might be bolder. His lordship knows me well and loves me well.
I thank your grace.
My lord of Ely,
My lord.
when I was last in Holborn, I saw good strawberries in your garden there. I do beseech you, send for some of them.
Marry and will, my lord, with all my heart.
Cousin of Buckingham, a word with you. Catesby hath sounded Hastings in our business, and finds the testy gentleman so hot as he will lose his head ere give consent his master's son, the so-called Prince of Wales, shall lose the royalty of England's throne.
Withdraw you hence, my lord. I'll follow you.
We have not yet set down this day of triumph.
Yeah.
This day of coronation.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, in mine opinion, is too sudden. For I myself am not so well prepared as else I would be were the day prolonged.
Where is my Lord Protector? I have sent for these strawberries.
His grace looks cheerfully and smooth today. But there's some conceit or other, likes him well when he doth bid good morrow with such a spirit. I think there is never a man in Christendom that can less hide his love or hate than he. For by his face straight shall you know his heart.
What of his heart perceive you in his face by any likelihood he showed today?
Well, marry, that with no man here he is offended. For if he were, you should have seen it in his face.
I pray God he be not, I say.
I pray you all, tell me what they deserve that do conspire my death with devilish plots of damned witchcraft, and that have prevailed upon my body with their hellish charms.
What? The tender love I bear your grace, my lord, makes me most forward in this noble presence to doom the offenders, whatsoe'er they be. And I say, my lord, they have deserved death.
Then be your eyes the witness to this ill. See how I am bewitched. Behold, mine arm is like a blasted sapling, withered up. And this is Edward's wife, Elizabeth, that monstrous witch, that by her witchcraft thus hath marked me.
If they have done this thing, my lord,
If thou
thou, protector of this damned strumpet, tell'st thou me of ifs? Thou art a traitor! Off with his head! Now by St. Paul I swear I will not dine until I see the same. Look that it be done. Those that love me, rise and follow me.
Whoa. Woe for England, not a whit for me, for I too fond might have prevented this. Stanley did dream the boar did raise his helm, but I disdained it and did scorn to fly. 3 times today my footcloth horse did stumble and startled when he gazed upon the tower, as loath to bear me to the slaughterhouse. Oh, Margaret, Margaret, now your heavy curse is lighted on poor Hastings' wretched head.
Dispatch, my lord. The Duke would be at dinner. Make a short shrift. He longs to see your head.
Oh, momentary grace of mortal men, which we more look for than the grace of God, who builds his hopes in air of your good looks, lives like a drunken sailor on a mast, ready at every nod to tumble down into the fatal bowels of the deep.
Come, dispatch. 'Tis bootless to exclaim.
Bloody Richard. Miserable England, I prophesy the fearfullest time to thee that ever wretched age hath looked upon. Come, lead me to the block. Bear him my head. Huh? They smile at me that shortly shall be dead.
Here comes the mayor. He will unto the citizens report some understanding of this, our action in Lord Hastings' death. Let us effect some chaos in our bearing. Come, cousin, canst thou quake and change thy colour, murder thy breath in the middle of a word, and then begin again and stop again as if thou wert distraught and mad with terror?
Tut, I can counterfeit. The deep tragedian ghastly looks are at my service like enforced smiles, and both are ready in their offices at any time to grace my stratagems. Lord Mayor, the reason we have sent for you...
Look back! Defend thee! Here are enemies!
God and our innocence! Defend them, God!
Be patient, be quiet. It's Catesby.
Here is the head of that ignoble traitor, the dangerous and unsuspected Hastings.
So dear, I loved the man, that I must weep. I took him for the plainest, harmless creature that breathed upon the earth a Christian.
Well, he was the covetous, sheltered traitor. Can you imagine this day he had plotted in this council house to murder me and my good Lord of Gloucester?
What, had he so?
What? Think you we are Turks or infidels? or that we would against the form of law proceed thus rashly to the villain's death, but that the extreme peril of the case, the peace of England, and our person's safety enforced us to this execution.
Now, fair befall you, he deserved his death, and you, my good lords, both are well proceeded to warn false traitors of the like attempt.
But we had not determined he should die until your lordship came to see his death, which now the loving haste of this, our friend, something against our meaning, has prevented.
Because, my lord, we would have had you heard the traitor speak and timorously confess the purpose and the manner of his treason.
But, good my lord, your grace's word will serve as well as I had seen or heard him speak. And doubt you not, right noble princes both, but I will acquaint our duteous citizens with all your just proceedings in this cause.
And to that end, we wished your lordship here to avoid the carping censure of the world.
And so, my good Lord Mayor, we bid farewell.
Go, after, cousin of Buckingham, the mayor towards Guildhall hies him in all haste. There, at your meetst advantage of the time, infer the bastardy of Edward's children. Moreover, urge his bestial appetite, which stretched to their servants' daughters' wives, nay, even where his raging eye or heart, without control, lusted to make his prey. Nay, for a need thus far come near my person, tell them, when that my mother was with child with that insatiate Edward, noble York, my princely father, then had wars in France, and by true computation of the time found that the issue was not his begot. But touch this sparingly, as it were far off, because you know, my lord, my mother lives.
I go, and toward 3 or 4 o'clock, look for the news that the Guildhall affords.
Now will I in, to give notice that no manner of person at any time have recourse unto the princes.
This is the indictment of the good Lord Hastings, which in a set hand fairly is engrossed, that it may be this day read over in Paul's. And mark how well this sequence hangs together. 11 hours I spent to write it over, for yesternight by Catesby was it brought me. And yet within these 5 hours lived Lord Hastings, untainted, unexamined, free, at liberty. Here's a good world the while. Why, who's so gross that seeth not this palpable device? Yet who's so blind but says he sees it not? Bad is the world, and all will come to naught when such bad dealings must be seen in thought.
How now, my lord? What say the citizens?
Now, by the Holy Mother of our Lord, the citizens are mum. Speak not a word.
Touched you the bastardy of Edward's children?
I did, and his own bastardy has been got your father then in France, with all I did infer your lineaments being the right idea of your father. Your discipline in war, wisdom in peace, your bounty, virtue, fair humility, indeed left nothing fitting for your purpose, untouched or slightly handled in discourse. And when mine oratory grew to an end, I bid them that did love their country's good cry, God save Richard, England's royal king.
Ah, and did they so?
No. So God help me, they spake not a word, but like dumb statues or breathing stones, stared each another and looked deadly pale. Which when I saw, I reprehended them and asked the mayor what meant this wilful silence. His answer was, the people were not used to be spoke to but by the recorder. Then he was urged to tell my tale again. Thus saith the Duke, thus hath the Duke inferred, but nothing spake in warrant from himself. When he had done, some followers of mine own at the lower end of the hall hurled up their caps, and some 10 voices cried, God save King Richard. Thus I took the vantage of those few. Thanks, gentle citizens and friends, quoth I, this general applause and loving shout argues your wisdoms and your loves to Richard, and even here break off and came away.
What tongueless blocks were they? Would they not speak?
No, by my troth, my lord.
Will the mayor then and his brethren come?
The mayor is here, at hand. Pretend some fear. Be not you spoke with, but by mighty suit. And look you, get a prayer book in your hand, and stand between two churchmen, good my lord, and be not easily won to our request. Play the maid's part. Still answer nay, and take it.
I go, and if you can plead as well for them as I can say nay to thee, for myself, no doubt, we'll bring it to a happy issue.
Although up to the ledge the Lord Mayor knocks. Welcome, my lord. I dance attendance here. I fear the Duke will not be spoke withal. Here comes his servant, Catesby. How now, what says he?
My lord, he doth entreat your grace to visit him tomorrow or next day. He is within with two right reverend fathers, divinely bent to meditation.
Go, good Catesby, to thy lord once more. Tell him myself, the mayor and citizens, in deep designs, in matters of great moment, no less importing than our general good, are come to have some conference with his grace.
I'll tell him what you say, my lord.
My lord, this prince is not an Edward. He's not lolling on a lewd day bed, but on his knees at meditation. Not sleeping to engross his idle body, but praying to enrich his watchful soul. Happy were England would this gracious prince take on himself the sovereignty thereof, but sure, I fear we ne'er shall win him to it.
Marry, God forbid his grace shall say us nay.
I fear he will. Catesby, what says he?
My lord, he wonders to what end you have assembled such troops of citizens to speak with him, his grace not being warned thereof before. My lord, he fears you mean no good to him.
Sorry I am, my noble cousin should suspect us, that we mean no good to him. By heaven, we come in perfect love to him, and so return once more and tell him so. When holy and devout religious men are at their beads, 'tis much to draw them thence. So sweet is zealous contemplation.
Oh, see, where he stands, between two clergymen.
And look, a book of prayer in his hand. Famous Plantagenet. Most gracious prince, lend favourable ears to our request, and pardon us the interruption of thy devotion and right Christian zeal.
My lord, there needs no such apology. I rather do beseech you pardon me, that earnest in the service of my God, neglect the visitation of my friends. But leaving this, what is your grace's pleasure?
Even that, I hope, which pleaseth God above, and all good men of this ungoverned isle.
I do suspect that I've done some offence, which seems disgracious in the city's eyes.
You have, my lord. Would it might please your grace at our entreaty to amend that fault.
Else wherefore breathe I in a Christian land?
And no, it is your fault that you resign the supreme seat, the throne majestical, the sceptred office of your ancestors, your state of fortune and your due of birth to the corruption of a blemished stock, while in the mildness of your sleepy thoughts, which here we waken to our country's good, the noble isle doth want her proper limbs, her face defaced with scars of infamy, her royal stock graft with ignoble plants, and almost shouldered in the swallowing gulf of blind oblivion and deep forgetfulness, which to recure we heartily solicit your gracious self to take on you the charge and kingly government of this your land. Not as protector, steward, substitute, but as successively from blood to blood your right of birth, your empery, your own.
I know not whether to depart in silence or bitterly to speak in your reproof. Your love deserves my thanks, but my desert, unmeritable, shuns your high request. First, if all objects were cut away, and that my path were even to the crown, as my right revenue and due by birth. Yet so much is my poverty of spirit, so mighty and so many my defects, as I had rather hide me from my greatness. But God be thanked, there is no need of me. The royal tree hath left us royal fruit, which mellowed by the stealing hours of time shall well become the seat of majesty, and make, no doubt, us happy by his reign.
This argues conscience in your grace, but the respects thereof are nice and trivial. You say that prince is your brother's son? So say we too, but not by Edward's wife. In his unlawful bed he got this Edward, whom our manners called the Prince. More bitterly I could expostulate, say that for reverence to some alive I give a sparing limit to my tongue. Then, good my lord, take to yourself this proffered benefit of dignity, if not to bless us and the land withal, yet to draw forth thy noble ancestry from the corruption of abusing times.
Do, good my lord, your citizens entreat you.
Refuse not, mighty lord, this proffered love.
Oh, make them joyful, grant their lawful suit.
Alas, why would you heap these cares on me? I am not fit for state and majesty. I do beseech you, take it not amiss. I cannot, nor I will not yield to you.
If you refuse it, as in love and zeal, loath to depose the child, your brother's son, for well we know your tenderness of heart, and gentle, kind, effeminate remorse. Whether you accept our suit or no, your brother's son will never reign our king, but we will plant some other on the throne, to the disgrace and downfall of your house. And in this resolution here we leave you. Come, citizens, I'll entreat no more. Zounds!
Oh, do not swear, cousin of Buckingham.
Call them again and accept their suit.
Do, good my lord, lest all the land do rue it.
Would you enforce me to a world of care? Well, call them again. Aye! I am not made of stone, but penetrable to your kind entreats, albeit against my conscience and my soul. Cousin of Buckingham, and you sage, grave men, since you will buckle fortune on my back to bear her burden, whether I will or no, I must have patience to endure the load. But if black scandal and foul-faced reproach attend the sequel of your imposition, your mere enforcement shall acquit me of all the impure blots and stains thereof. For God he knows, and you may partly see, how far I am from the desire of this.
God bless your grace. We see it, and will say it.
In saying so, you shall but say the truth.
Then I salute you with this kingly title. God save Richard, England's royal king.
Amen.
Tomorrow will it please you to be crowned?
Well, even when you please, since you will have it so.
Tomorrow then we will attend your lordship, and so most joyfully we take our leave.
Come, let us to our holy task again. Farewell, good cousin. Farewell, gentle friends.
So, with Richard's tightly clenched fist finally about to grasp the crown of England, we'll take a break with the theatre audience here at the Almeida. In 12 minutes, I'll be back with the director of tonight's production, Rupert Gould. See you then.